Hello and welcome back to the Old Soul Millennial channel. In the garage tonight we have the wife's 2018 Honda CRV. We recently purchased this car secondhand from a family member, and the car has about 100,000 miles on the clock right now. We purchased this car well knowing that it has what I would describe as a dry bearing whooshing sound. I've recorded an audio clip of the sound that the car makes. I'm going to go ahead and play you that clip now. This is the sound this 2018 CRV is making. Starts at about 14 miles an hour. Gets louder with speed. The goal of this video is to help other Honda CRV owners out there diagnose some noises that may be coming from their car that sound similar to what this car was making. Well, is still making. But this video will also prove to be helpful for anybody else out there with an all-wheel drive car, because I would imagine the components are quite similar. So, from that audio clip, you could hear that dry whooshing sound, hopefully, that I was referring to. Now, my first suspicion, well, maybe this is a wheel bearing that's starting to fail. So the first thing I did, I ended up jacking the car off the ground, all four tires off the ground, and I went to the front tires and I rocked them vertically and then horizontally. What I was doing, I was trying to feel if there was any play in the bearing. The front wheel bearings. There was no play. Next thing I did, popped the car in neutral and I spun the front tires by hand, trying to feel if I could feel any roughness while spinning the tires. Just anything to kind of give me a clue. Did the same with the rear. Nothing. Bearings were pretty darn quiet. I heard a little bit of brake contact, but I definitely didn't suspect that that was the issue, and I don't believe that that's the issue at this point. I did find something underneath the car. We're getting there. So, next thing I did, I had the driver sit in the car with the car jacked up off the ground, and I had the driver accelerate to about 20 miles an hour. By the way, this is very dangerous. Please don't attempt this, but what I was trying to do is have the tires spin at kind of like a higher rate of speed to see if I could hear any noise coming from any of the wheel bearings while standing away from the wheels. Nothing. It was pretty darn quiet. So I went online. I ended up doing some more research, and because this is an all-wheel drive car, there is a drive shaft that obviously connects the front of the car to the rear differential and the rear tires. So a common problem with these Honda CRVs is there is a carrier bearing on that drive shaft, and I thought, well, maybe that's the problem. But again, with the driver in the driver's seat and the car jacked up off the ground and the tires spinning, I didn't hear any noise coming from that. I ended up calling a radio mechanic show just to kind of go through my symptoms, and he recommended that I purchase a mechanic's stethoscope, in which I did. And today, we jacked up the car once more, and I went underneath the car. Please don't attempt this. This is very dangerous. Great way to get yourself killed. But anyway, I started poking around. With the car in drive, going maybe 15 miles an hour on the tachometer, I went to each of the front wheel bearings. No noise. Had this underneath the center carrier bearing on the drive shaft. Pretty much no noise. Checked the rear wheel bearings. Pretty much no noise. But here's where I started to hear a lot of noise. In the rear differential. Now I'm going to take you out of the car, and I want to show you what I found. So now we're underneath the rear of the car. This is the differential. This is where I had my stethoscope up to, and this is where I was hearing a lot of noise. So I started taking a good look at the drive shaft. Take a look at this universal joint right here. Does anything stand out? Anything look odd? I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a lot of grease residue right here. The noise is what I would describe as a dry bearing sound, and there is obviously grease coming out of this universal joint. So I ended up unbolting this. I believe these are 12.10 millimeter bolts, just in case if you're curious. But I unbolted this so I could try and move this universal joint around and see if I could hear any noise or feel any coarseness. Now when I rock it this way, it's not too bad. I could feel a little bit of roughness, but the real giveaway is when I go from side to side this way. I don't know. I mean, you can't really hear it, but I can feel tremendous coarseness, like boom, boom, boom. So very coarse. Once this shaft starts spinning at a high rate of speed, that coarseness will definitely start to make some noise, make some vibration, and that will resonate down the car. So without question, this universal joint is definitely an issue. So in the next video, I'm going to make a video about replacing this drive shaft, and then we will take it for a test drive and see if that noise does in fact go away. But again, just the coarseness in this U-joint, I think this is most likely our issue. Regardless, this is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed, but this is most likely what's causing that noise, in my case anyway. And while I'm underneath the car, I also just wanted to show you this center carrier bearing. So there's a little bushing in here, so it's normal for there to be a little bit of play, but this is basically in line with the front of the fuel tank and in between the front of the fuel tank and the exhaust. You can't miss it, folks, but included in the new drive shaft should be a new center carrier bearing and bushing assembly. These two shafts are one piece connected together, so yep, we'll get that drive shaft and give her a test.